Hi friends! Today we're going to paint a lovely little house in a blooming summer garden. It's a peaceful, detailed scene, so just a heads up, this isn't a quick sketch. You'll likely want to take it in stages because there are lots of small details and areas that deserve attention. It's totally okay if it takes time. And if you're painting for more than an hour and a half, please take a break. It helps you stay fresh and focused so you don't accidentally ruin something just because you're tired. All right, let's begin with the roof. The roofline doesn't start right at the corner. Move it slightly to the right and draw a soft slope. There's a hint of perspective here, but don't worry too much about it. One side of the roof is a little wider than the other, but the house is mostly facing us, so it's okay to keep it simple and just draw clean parallel lines. Next, there's a window. Actually, more like a small balcony. Think of it as a rectangle. Be careful with the vertical lines. They should stay straight, otherwise the house will look like it's collapsing sideways. And the horizontal lines should follow the slope of the roof just slightly. This window sits a bit to the left of centre, not exactly in the middle of the paper. There's also a tiny triangular roof over the balcony. We'll find the middle and place it just slightly off centre, since the view is a bit angled. I realised my first version wasn't quite working. The triangle didn't fit well, so I'm adjusting the window position slightly higher. That way, the little roof has room to sit comfortably above it. Don't stress if it's not perfect. I'll walk you through all the important shapes and give you tips you can apply to your own sketch, whether it's this house or your own. Let's get started. When something starts right from the corner of the page, it tends to split the composition weirdly. So I'll move the window up just a little. Don't forget, our horizontal lines are slightly angled. Try to keep them parallel to the roof's slope. Let me mark that out real quick. Yeah, you can already see it starting to take shape. Now I think I'll make the window a bit wider. Sometimes you need to play around with proportions. It happens. I was sketching this on a smaller sheet earlier, and honestly, it's so interesting how your brain gets used to the size. You start seeing all the shapes at that scale, and then when you go bigger it feels weird to adjust. Like here, I scaled up the roof, but my brain still wants to draw the window at the old size. It's resisting, haha. All right, now check this out. The roof angle here bends slightly at the corner. It's not a perfect straight slope. Try to match it with the other side. They should run more or less parallel. You can even check it by holding up your pencil to compare.
It's been too long now, I think that I want second guess you, I second guess me, I second guess them, don't second guess me. Live in the moment, cause we are so free. And in this moment, life is like a dream. Live in the moment, cause we are so free. And in this moment, life is like a dream. So come a little closer, but don't hold your breath.
Let's move on with the house. We'll just loosely sketch the shape of the bushes for now. Very basic, no need for detail yet. Then we've got the door. Find the bottom of the house relative to that balcony. It's just a bit lower. And remember, this is a balcony, not just a window. It's roughly the size of a doorway. There's even a little beam underneath to show that structure. These things matter. Standard proportions in architecture can really help your drawing feel believable. Like, don't let one doorway be way bigger than another unless it's on purpose. Also, watch those verticals. Keep your lines upright. No leaning buildings here. Now this one really is a window. It's smaller and it's partially covered by a bush. Let's toss in another bush to frame it. Okay, we've got the main shapes down. Now let's move to smaller details. We'll add window frames next. There's also a little flower pot just under the roofline. We'll suggest it with a simple shape. One of the windows is open and one's closed. So for the closed one, divide it into 3 even parts. Pretty straightforward. Just make sure they're about equal. The open one is a bit trickier. It swings outward, so that changes how the frame looks. And yeah, by the way, if you're looking at the reference photo, the perspective there is kinda wonky. Some of the lines bend in weird ways, but we'll fix that in our version and keep the structure clean and straight. Now I'm adding just some little roof details, kind of like sticks or beams along the slope. There's also a small window on the roof. Its frame should follow the same direction as the roof line, staying parallel. Oh, and there's another little opening here. Maybe it's a window, maybe it's a tiny door with steps. The steps are a bit of a mystery. Honestly, you've got to look at the reference for this part. Each step is different. Some have grass, others are stone, some look like tiny terraces. To simplify, just think of each one as two parts, a top surface and a vertical face. Top, vertical, top, vertical. That's it. Okay, the drawing is done. I'm also marking a few spots for flowers, using small circles. This helps me not paint over them with green later. If you're unsure about anything at this stage, I really recommend you finish the pencil sketch first and then check it before moving on to colour. You can always send it for feedback or just double-check it yourself. Better to catch issues now than after paint goes down. And seriously, take a break before you start with watercolour. You've already done a lot.
Violence in your eyes now. Remember that time you gave your heart to me. Remember that time when life was like a dream. You know what I know. You know what I know. I need to hold you close to me, to me, to me, to me, yeah. Life is our game that we play. I won't get away. We can find a safe place within our company. Within our company. Within our company. So come closer to me. Come a little closer.
Now, let's move to painting. I'm starting with the sky, and I want to mention, in this reference I'm not in love with how the sky looks. But sky colour sets the tone and mood of the whole scene. Think of it as the weather personality of your painting. Here, we've got clear signs of a sunny day, bright shadows from the roof, clean white frames, strong contrast in the bushes. So let's pick a clean, rich azure blue. Now I'll go in with a wash. Just one smooth layer, even and consistent. Try not to leave harsh edges or overlaps. For the roof, I want a cooler, more muted grey tone. I don't use black, I mix in a bit of brown instead. It gave me a slightly greenish tint this time. Can you see it on the palette? I'm filling in the rooftops now with this shade. It's still pretty light at this stage. Oh, and I left a little gap here. This'll be a wooden beam in brown. You'll notice I'm working fast, especially around the windows, which I'm leaving white so they can reflect the sky. Pro tip, mix enough paint right away for the whole area. You don't want to run out mid-wash and end up with blotches. I'm using a fairly large brush so I don't have to reload it constantly, but the tip is sharp enough to let me work around edges cleanly. Here, while it's still damp, I'm blending in a little more pigment. Ooh, that turned out nice. Might need to touch up some highlights later when it's dry. Actually, it's drying now. I'll grab a thinner brush and start adding shadows next.
We can find a safe within our company. Within our company. Within our company. So come closer to me. Come a little closer. How long can you
Now I'm using the same colour for the shadows, just making it a bit darker. Pretty much all my shadows in this piece stay in the same cool range. This one here has a sharp, crisp edge, while the shadow on the other side is softer and more diffused. You can even add a bit of pure blue here. It gives it that nice cool tone. Let's show the thickness of the roof tiles here. Just a tiny suggestion with a darker stroke. I want to deepen the colour along the edges now. I'm using a dry brush to pull the colour outward. One layer first, and then I go over it again with a bit more pigment on top. Same on this side, just darkening that area a little more. This part didn't come out great. I rushed it. I was trying to paint it wet on wet, but didn't quite get there in time. Oh well. I'm applying the colour and blending it softly with a dry brush. This little shape here probably casts a shadow, so I'll darken it slightly. That corner too. It's meant to be pretty dark. Let's check the window now. We've got upper and side frames. The sides will be darker. They catch more shadow, while the top part stays lighter. Okay, time to paint the glass itself. It'll be blue, but not too clean or bright. More muted than the sky for sure. I'll start by just filling in the glass area with that cool blue wash. Here's a fun idea.
I remember when college seemed so important, but
You can sketch a flower now, so you know where it'll go later when you add colour. I'm painting it wet on wet. First I soak the area with clean water, make it nice and damp. Then I gently dab in the colour, just little dots, building it up slowly. You can shape the petals a bit with your brush while everything's still moist. Now I add a little green. While it's still wet, I scatter it around, trying not to blend too much, just placing it between the reds. Later we'll go over everything again with a second layer on dry paper. Back to the windows. First layer is super light. We'll come back and add shadows in the second pass. This shadow here continues along the edge, but since it's falling on a white frame, it stays pretty soft and light. Same colour though. We're keeping it consistent. Okay, I made a big mistake here. This bit was supposed to stay white. It's part of the frame and I painted over it. Don't do what I did. Pay attention to which areas need to stay clean.
I know for sure it's not a fancy degree. I'd like to do what I love, but what if I'm not good enough? Split personality. Sometimes sour, sometimes sweet. An M. Night Shyamalan story called Everything's Peachy. Can we just skip straight to the plot twist, please? Life's all about balance, and real love takes practice. We know accidents happen, but my love's on purpose. Reciprocate the feeling, find peace beneath the surface. Everything's peachy. Everything's peachy. Split personality. Sometimes sour, sometimes sweet. An M. Night Shyamalan story called Everything's Peachy. Can we just skip straight to the plot twist, please?
All right, I'm adding more definition to the flowers, just reinforcing some spots with small, precise dots.
Everything's peachy, split personality, sometimes sour, sometimes sweet. An M. Night Shyamalan story called Everything's Peachy. Can we just skip straight to the plot twist, please? Personality, sometimes sour, sometimes sweet. Split personality, sometimes sour, sometimes.
Now let's add a detail from the roof, the little yellow gutter pipe. And moving on to the wall. First, I lay down a flat wash. Keep it slightly damp, and then, while it's still a bit wet, we can start adding some texture. I'm dropping in some sienna here and there to create soft, random patches. A bit of warmth. Maybe some more brownish tones too. And now, switching to a fine brush, I'm sketching out the little stones in the wall. They're not really bricks, more like light grey stones, kind of irregular. I'm using the same desaturated tones I use for the roof. You can already start playing around with those natural blotches you've got. Make them work for you. Now let's drop in that shadow from the roof. And while we're at it, let's add a bit more interest near the window. Some extra textures in the stones, a few unusual shapes, just to make that area pop a little more. That's where we want the focus after all, so we can afford a bit more detail here. I'm also deepening the shadow next to the window. Look how the light from the window glows when it's up against that darker background. So satisfying. Right here, we can even do a soft transition, a little gradient to make it richer. Now I'm tweaking the shadow colour, adding just a hint of blue so it doesn't look too brown. Some stones can still glow even in shadow. You'd be surprised. Okay, let's take a quick break here, and after that, we'll move on to the bushes and the doorway. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. There are tons of tutorials on my channel, and to help you find what you're looking for, check out the Playlists tab. Everything's sorted by topic there. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can check out the merch, the extra lessons on my website, or head over to my Patreon, Instagram, or other social links in the description. Every bit of support helps. All right, let's get back to painting. I'll show you on a separate sheet how I paint these bushes so they end up looking all different, just like in the reference. We're going to build them up in layers. First, I wet the area where I want the bush to go. Then I start with a really light tone. Maybe something bluish, maybe a hint of yellow-green, but nothing too pigmented yet. Keep it soft. This shape here, that'll be our bush. While it's still damp, I might toss in a little more colour, just a touch while it's wet. Now we wait. It needs to dry a little. Although, it's still damp around the edges, so I'll sneak in some faint branches over here. These are the ones that'll show through the door opening. They're background stuff. As soon as parts of it start drying, I go back in with light touches. Maybe a few leaf shapes, a few scattered dots. Still working with soft, transparent tones. This part of the process takes time. It's pretty meditative, honestly. Kind of like embroidery. If you enjoy that slow, focused rhythm, you'll love this part. You can also start adding variety. A few yellows here, some different shades of green there, still keeping it light and airy. Then, once it's almost dry, That's when I switched to a deeper, more saturated colour. Not to paint the leaves themselves, but to add shadows between them. You've already got the leaf shapes hinted in. Now it's about suggesting that depth, little triangles or spaces between the clusters. It's not fully dry yet, so I'm being careful, but you get the idea. Between the leaves, I'm adding these little triangle shapes. They suggest shadows. Think of it like this. We're building everything in 3 layers. First, a flat wash for the base colour. Second, we throw in tons of light, varied leaves. And finally, we sneak in shadows between those leaves using a fine brush. That same logic works inside the doorway too. There, you've got to use a thinner brush. Right now I'm using a bigger one just for practice, but for the actual bush in the doorway, I'll switch to something smaller. Everything is filled in gradually, carefully, with patience. Yeah, it's slow work. One bush like this could easily take up to 30 minutes. You've also got to watch how the surface dries. I place shadow areas depending on that. Just follow the reference and go with your instinct. I hope this part made sense. Again, it's 3 layers, a base, a bunch of leaves, and shadows between the leaves.
I need an intervention, divine intervention, Only in my crucial moments do they pay attention carefully. The shadows of my past welcome me again with a smile. But something deep within, something new, lets me emerge from my cocoon. I only have what's right in front of me. Only you know what is right for me. Compromise, compromise, compromise. Improvise, improvise, improvise. I mean a nice vacation and pure introspection. There is nowhere else to go, so I'll be coming home to you. Your sadness doesn't compare to the happiness that's just around the corner. I only have what's right in front of me. Only you know what is right for me. Compromise, compromise, compromise.
Now I'll go back to my main bush and just show you what I'm doing without talking. Same approach, just one difference. This bush has pink flowers. We marked them earlier with circles, so we need to make sure they stay visible. Also, take a look at the leaf shape here. It's rounder, a different variety.
Compromise, compromise, compromise. Improvise, improvise, improvise. There is nowhere else to go, so I'll be coming home to you. Your sadness doesn't compare to the happiness that's just around the corner. I only have what's right in front of me. Only you know what is right for me. Compromise, compromise, compromise. Improvise, improvise, improvise.
A few final notes before we wrap up. First, there's a shadow from the bush that falls right across half of the little staircase. Second, don't go overboard with the grass. You can hint at some unevenness here and there, but don't draw giant bushes or overwhelming patches of grass. Keep it subtle, and this is what we end up with. I think it turned out really sweet. You can actually feel the sunlit areas, especially here. Maybe I'll darken this corner just a bit more. A touch of blue here and there gives it a cool contrast. And there we have it, a lovely little cosy house on a bright sunny day, surrounded by flowers that you can almost smell through the screen. So warm and inviting, like you want to walk right in. Give it a try, paint it yourself. This one took me about 4 hours from start to finish. And don't forget, take breaks and enjoy the process. See you in the next tutorial. And until then, happy painting. Bye for now.